What's going on?
We're having a cuddle day.
You're having a cuddle day?
Yeah.
You love your little sister?
Yeah.
Aww. Aww. You guys are so sweet. You ready to go to school, Callum?
Yeah.
Hey, her bow matches your backpack.
Huh?
Her bow matches your school bag.
Yeah, it does.
Cool, huh?
Yeah, it does.
What are you doing? We're doing some birthday shopping because a certain little girl has a birthday coming up. Do, 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 do. Good morning, everybody. Linnea and I, after we brought Callum to school, we went over to the playground for a little bit. And now we're here because I want to get all of our groceries for the rest of the week picked up today. And then tomorrow I have plans to take her to do something a bit different from the norm. If we ever get out of here, we're sitting in the toy section at Marks and Spencer, and the original plan was that we would just come in here and pick up a pretzel. We're still here like an hour later, and I mean, it is kind of good because she's been pointing out things that she wants for her birthday, so that works out well, but we do need to get going. Ooh. Nice. We're back home and Linnea just took a nap. Hold on. Whew, gotta move the chair a little bit. Linnea's taking a nap. I just ate some lunch. I hope I don't have spinach in my teeth because I definitely ate some spinach with my lunch. But I realized I haven't talked at all about why we chose the flat that we chose and kind of the whole background of everything, because I realized what you see in the vlog is just a tour of each apartment, and you might think, well, actually that apartment might have been better, or I liked this more of this apartment. I really just wanted to sit and explain what we were thinking as we were going through, because you don't know really anything other than what you see in the vlog. I was very surprised at just how beautiful and how well maintained the properties that we saw were. To get that same kind of look in London, you just pay so much more. So for starters, I think if we had gotten any of those three, we would have been fine. It's just, there were certain things about each one that we liked, just personal preferences, really. The first one that we saw was in a much busier part of Berlin. In general, the schools in the area were not that great. We have done lots of research on schools, and in general the schools were not as great in that area as you would expect, or really as anyone would. We did lots of research into the areas, and we wanted to see what living in the city would be like versus living outside of the city. That was the big question that we really wanted to answer for ourselves. The first apartment was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It was the smallest of the three. And all three, the rents were quite comparable. So it really wasn't like living outside of Berlin was so much cheaper than living in Berlin. It was really, all three were quite comparable in price. I will say, however, that the first one was the smallest. So I guess you could say it was the most expensive because it was definitely the most per square meter than the other two. So it was the smallest. And really, it just came down to two things why we didn't choose it. The property itself was beautiful, but it was on a very busy street, and the area was not very child-friendly. There was an outdoor space, a communal outdoor space. There was off-street parking, which was very important considering where it was located. And what was interesting about that first apartment is there's a door that you walk through, and that door takes you into this corridor, and then at the end of the corridor you had another door, and then that other door brought you into this beautiful, what they call Innenhof. I would call it a courtyard, like a courtyard in English, where you would keep your bikes, and it was like a communal place inside, just surrounded by the buildings. And then from that Innenhof, you had a specific door that went to your building, and inside of your building was your flat. So it was interesting because I felt like I was walking in this real secure compound, because we went through 1, 2, 3, 4 doors before we actually got into the flat. And it was amazing, and I definitely felt very safe. I just thought, however, logistics, kids, groceries, walking up bunches of steps, 9,000 doors with different keys, ugh. It just didn't feel right. That just felt the absolute smallest. You had to go through the living room to get to a bedroom. Again, if we were just newlyweds or much younger children, it would have been absolutely fine, but it just didn't feel right. It just wasn't the one for us. And with the first one, we would also have to put in a kitchen, which kind of blows people's minds here when I tell them, but in Germany, you guys, the Germans, know that it's not uncommon that you have to put in a kitchen, an Einbauküche. We would do it if we felt like the place was right, but it just wasn't. The second one that we saw was much bigger in size. The second and the third were the exact same size. The layout I liked much more than the first one, in that you had a huge entryway. The entryway was massive. It was really big. In hindsight, we probably, if we had gotten that one, we probably could have used that main entryway as your main living room. It was so big, and then just had another bedroom. But there were no windows in the entryway. It felt very much so like a transitional space rather than a space that felt cozy to get comfortable and sit in. It didn't feel like a living room space. It felt very much so like an entryway. And while it was absolutely amazing, the bedrooms felt quite small. And I think in hindsight, if they had just taken less from the entryway and added that space to the bedrooms, it would have been a perfect apartment. The other thing that we just didn't really like is that there was no balcony, no outdoor space. It just wasn't the one. The last one that we saw, which we put an offer in for, the reason why we chose that one was due to proximity to excellent schools, which first and foremost was key for us. I did not want a situation. Part of the problem when we moved to London is we first moved to an area that had schools that were under functioning. That's really the biggest reason why we made the move from that house that we lived in to where we live now. Because of the schools. We knew that if you have really good schools, you'll have a strong family community. We didn't want to get into a situation where we had to leave because the things that were most important to us were not being met. So excellent schools was really a priority for us, and we made a lot of our decisions based on that. And we couldn't ask for better schools in the area where we're moving to. And I'm quite happy with that. There are really good public schools, there are really good private schools. That was a big reason for us, the school. That was truly probably first and foremost for me, the school. In terms of the location, it was quiet, it was very family friendly. It felt like a bit of a little oasis, a real kind of green oasis in the middle of Berlin. The area was really nice, it was really family friendly. We spoke to people that spoke very highly of the area. It was actually recommended to us from a couple of people for being very family friendly, good schools, great for kids. It already had a kitchen built in, which is not the norm, so that gave it huge bonus points, like, hallelujah, we don't have to pay thousands for a kitchen. And on top of that, it had a private outside garden. The garden is private, and so there is a part that's communal, but the kids will have their own private garden, which is so amazing. They'll have an area that they can call theirs, and that's really what I've been wanting for them. To have our own garden where we could set up our own outside table and our own outside seating, and even a little trampoline for the kids if we wanted to. I'm really happy for them that they'll have space to just play and be kids and kick a ball and not necessarily have to worry about plants that the other neighbors have planted. You know, it's their space. So really that's why we chose it. It's spacious, great schools, great location, it's quiet, and the kids, they have a garden and we have a garden. So it makes the apartment even bigger because now you have outside living space, which changes things a bit. As their mom, I've had a real sick feeling in the pit of my stomach just thinking, how can we possibly move them from a place where Callum is so well adjusted in school, he loves his school, he loves the area, we're happy here, we love Greenwich, we've absolutely loved it. Like, how can we move them to a place that didn't feel right in Berlin? And I'm now going to Berlin with a much happier, more positive mindset because I feel like it will definitely be an adjustment and there will be hardships, but I feel like the place where we're moving to, the new home for us, I feel like it's a place we could really be in for a few years. It's definitely the right decision for our children, for our family. And so Callum and I went to Sainsbury's to get Papa some ginger ale, and we saw these from the Lego movie. Who did you get?
Anybody.
Okay, was andere?
What is that?
That is a song.
You guys got the same one.
What a pig.
Shoot!
Look, I built it all by myself.
Oh good, let me see. Who's that? You got Lucy.
Mommy, look, a horse.
You found a horse?
Yeah.
Linnea, do you like doing Waldo with Papa?
Well, the priest would be easy, but...
That's my Mommy, look what I made. Look. It's a water transfer. That can float on the water.
Oh, that looks like fun.
You can't really see what's on the water because this is... But you can't really see what's on the water because this is only a thing.
Callum, do you love your Legos?
Yeah, but not Linnea. Because I'm making some. Take the Legos now. Out of it. The new book. I got you, Linda.
Ja, hier oben ist Wanda. Hier oben.
I found Linda, Mommy.
You found Winda, or did Papa find Winda?
I found Linda. I'm good looking. See? Look, Linda, I'm not you.
Guck mal, hier ist der andere. Hier ist der Bienenmann.
Der
Der schwarz-weiße, der schwarz-gelbe.
I found Linda.
Und wo ist der Priester und der Hund?
Beep, 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 beep.
Papa, how are you feeling?
Beep, beep, beep.
It's not backwards.
Yeah, so Papa had viral tonsillitis, right?
It's
And
almost gone.
that's almost gone now, a week and a half later. But he has a really bad back. Like, his back really hurts, lower back, and he's basically stuck on the sofa. He goes to work, but he's really sore. This is Callum's favorite thing to do when he comes home from school.
Good.
Mommy,
Mm-hmm.
I found Linda.
You sure did. Well done, Neen. Good looking.
Hey,